YouTube, what's going on? Falcons family, the new era is here, and welcome to another episode of Gas Boy Speaks. Let's get to it. Today is a good day, a blessed Sunday. Thank everybody for coming in today, enjoying the show. Today we're going to talk about the new regime of these Atlanta Falcons. Yes, sir. We're going to be talking about Greg Beatles, the CEO, Matt Ryan, the president, Ian Cunningham, the new GM, and of course, Kevin Stefanski, the new head coach of our Atlanta Falcons, as well as getting into the offensive coaches on our staff, as well as the defensive coaches on our staff, a little in depth history of where they come from and what they will be bringing to our Atlanta Falcons. Let's look in the chat who we got in here today. Let us pray. Shout out to my boy. Let us pray. He say the new era is officially here, my brother. Yes, sir. The new era is here. Atlanta Falcons, it's time to rise up and stoop. Yes, sir. Who else we got in here? We got Southside Ricky up in here today. What's going on, my brother? Miss Pam of the Lady Birds of AFN, how are you doing this evening? Dirty Bird Fly Through, what's up, my guy? What's happening? But how is everybody doing on this Sunday afternoon? Man, I'm excited. I am excited. You know what? I'm so excited. I'm about to drop the link so we can just get right to the business as well as discussing this new regime. The link is in the chat. Let's go. But yeah, talking about our Atlanta Falcons today. And first up on board, we got Greg Beatles. We got Greg Beatles. DB, what's going on, my brother?
What's up, man? What's going on?
You know it, man. You know, another episode of Gas Boy Speaks, man. We finna talk about this new regime and where everybody role gonna be in Atlanta and hopefully what they
Oh
bring
yeah,
to
you
this
got
team.
all shoot, you got all of them up there. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So starting off with the left, we got Greg Beatles, the new CEO of our Atlanta Falcons. He was elevated from president to president and CEO once we released Rich McKay from all Atlanta Falcons duties. Even though we all still believe that Rich McKay is still in the building somewhere. He will be responsible for the business strategy, the organizational operations, franchise growth, and the community leadership. So, and he will also maintain oversight of nearly all non-football operation facets of the Atlanta Falcons organization. So basically, what I from what I took from this move, Arthur Blank basically took everything that Rich McKay did and gave everything business wise to Greg Beal. And everything football wise will be handled by Matt Ryan, the president of football. What you think about that, Dirty Bird?
Hey, I mean that's what had to happen. You had to get Rich McKay out of there, and it makes sense. Greg Beatles is obviously a special his specialties on the business side, and on the football side of things. There ain't no other person, better suited that knows the Atlanta Falcons than Matt Ryan to do it.
Okay. So let me give everybody a little history on Greg Beatles. Uh oh, somebody got an echo.
Was it me?
Probably.
Do I still gotta have it?
Nope.
Okay.
So yeah, so Greg Beadle has been with the Atlanta Falcons for almost 30 years. He has started with the Atlanta Falcons in 1997. He has roles of being the chief financial and administrative leadership roles in the business planning for the Falcons, as well as AMB Sports and Entertainment. He has been a part of the growth of the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. He has been in charge of the ownership transition leadership team that managed the transfer of the franchise ownership to Arthur Blank in 2001. He was also recognized for his expertise in business strategy, operations, finance, analytics, technology, facilities, retail, and and service functions across professional sports. So basically, he is a business minded guy. And as we stated before, we had to bring in somebody who was football minded. I feel like that was the main reason of putting somebody like Matt Ryan in as president. Somebody who's going to be focused on strictly football while allowing Greg Beatles to do what he is good at, which is focus on the business. He has a master in science in sports administration from Georgia State University. He has a bachelor of science in accounting from Louisiana State University. He also went through the NFL Executive Management Program at Stanford University. He has Georgia ties, and he has been a lifelong Falcons fan. So, what are your thoughts about Greg Beatles handling strictly the business side of things for our Atlanta Falcons?
It's the right call. It's the right call. And what one of the things Mr. Blank is doing is that he is what Mr. Blank is doing is he's trying to essentially push back on all the claims that he's a meddling owner, that he's involved too much. He is, and you don't see every franchise do this where they say, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I still own the team. I still sign all the paychecks, and I still obviously have final approval over everything. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put two people in to run my organization. I'm going to put someone in to run the business side so they can focus on all that. And essentially, I'm going to give them control over all my books. I'm going to put all my trust in them to run all my books properly. And I'll be checking over it, but I'm going to trust this person to do their job. And I'm going to do the exact same thing, but on the football side. I'm going to give this person all the resources they need, and they still report to me, but I'm going to give them everything they need to be successful on the football side. Arthur Blanket is has done exactly that. And I don't think a lot of franchises do that. A lot of franchises, they'll have and there's a debate to be had about too many hands in the kitchen or not. It's not necessarily saying this will work, but this is just what Arthur Blank has done. Most organizations, you see, there might be that one guy between the GM and the owner, but still, at the end of the day, there's no one of the there should be no excuse of priorities being mixed up as far as this president CEO goes, because it's pretty clear Greg Beatles has the business side, Matt Ryan has the football side, so they can
Exactly.
focus on their specialty.
And speaking of Matt Ryan, we're gonna get right into Matt Ryan and what his role will be with our Atlanta Falcons. So Matt Ryan, he is officially the president of football. Some people could say football operations, some people could say president of football, but we know as Falcons fans coming from the owner Arthur Blank's mouth, Matt Ryan will handle everything on the grass. Everything pertaining to this team will be handled on the grass. So here is Matt Ryan's role laid out. So, as for Matt Ryan being the president of football, he would serve as the top football decision maker, overseeing the long term vision, culture, and competitive direction of our Atlanta Falcons. His role would bridge football operations, leadership alignment, and ownership accountability. So, in saying that, that is the reason why the Chicago Bears didn't get two third-round picks for us hiring Ian Cunningham to be our GM, because essentially Matt Ryan will have the last say so when it comes to this franchise, even though Ian Cunningham will still have the titles of the GM and the role of the GM. So essentially building the roster and doing everything that's needed to have a winning culture, that will still be the GM role. So, as for his primary responsibilities, number one are organizational, vision, and culture. And we've seen that in the Kevin Stefanski press conference, the way Matt Ryan laid out. We will be a tough, physical football team. We'll be a run first team with a pass off the run with heavy play action and have an explosive offense. We will have an explosive defense that will stop the run and also give quarterbacks a hard time physically and mentally with coverage and blitzes as well as disguises. And for our special teams, he wanted them to be a fast, fluid running part of this team. But overall, we would be a smart, tough football team. That's the vision from top to bottom. And I feel like these guys who we have on board, they are all aligned with the vision that we all want. A winning culture here in Atlanta. The leadership oversight for Matt Ryan. He will supervise the general manager and the head coach. So this is basically like, instead of them reporting to Arthur Blank, everything football wise will run through Matt Ryan. And if Matt Ryan feels like it needs to go up to Mr. Blank, then it will go up to Mr. Blank. But until then, the the top of the food chain right now is Matt Ryan. He will also ensure alignment between coaching strategies and roster construction. So, in saying that, all of these coaches who we hire on our coaching staff, whether they were offensively or defensively, they had to be presented to Matt Ryan. So, all of these hires, whether it was Tommy Reese, Alex Van Pelt, Tanner Tanner Ingstring, Bill Callahan, Kevin Stefanski had to bring all of these names up to Matt Ryan. They had to do their research thoroughly and make sure they were fit for this football team. Thirdly, he will act as the final football authority in all major organizational decisions. So basically, as I stated earlier, he is the top of the food chain. For our Atlanta Falcons moving forward in 2026, Matt Ryan, who we all know as the Metro, will be the HNIC. He will have the final say so. What you got to say about that, Dirty Bird?
I think I've already said it. But I mean that is essentially all you got to say is the buck stops and Matt Ryan. Every you're right. Every little, even down to the quality controls and the senior assistants and the interns and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, that all goes through Matt Ryan, and that's the perk you can get of feeling better about that when you have someone specifically focused on the football side of things. But I also think that in large part, Matt Ryan will absolutely, I think, give pushback when needed. I think that his couple years as a announcer and commentator actually probably helped him do that more so better than just his all his years as a player. I think his time as an announcer helped him with that. But I mean, look, he's still gonna, at the end of the day, sure, will Matt Ryan's hands be around the product behind the scenes? Sure. But this is still in large part going to be the doing of Stefanski and Cunningham.
Facts. I totally agree. I totally agree. I feel like Matt Ryan, he chose two people who he feel like their vision aligns with his vision as of what they want this football team to be. Speaking of Ian Cunningham, let's get right into it. So Ian Cunningham, the new general manager of our Atlanta Falcons, recently the assistant general manager for the Chicago Bears, and we hired him. I believe that was Thursday night, Friday night. He has over 18 years experience in the NFL. He went to the University of Virginia, graduated in 2008. He had 31 starts as an offensive lineman, all freshman team, and honorable mention. He has a strategic NFL executive with nearly 2 decades of experience in talent evaluation, player personnel, scouting, and front office leadership. Proven success contributing to playoff teams and to two Super Bowl champions. He has a strong track record in roster building, free agency strategy, draft evaluation, and also collaborative leadership with coaching staff and senior football operations execs. So far, just off there, like I feel like we chose somebody with a deep resume in in the right way and to build a football team. What do you think about that so far?
That's the hire that I'm most excited about. And look, it's pretty hard to not be excited about maybe probably the greatest player in franchise history coming back and serving in this capacity and being back with the organization, a chance to achieve some unfinished business, as he says. This is the hire that excites me the most. This guy worked under two of the greatest executives this century, and Ozzie Newsome and Howie Roseman. I've been saying this about Ian Cunningham. You want to talk about what couldn't be a better pedigree that Ian Cunningham comes from, a better cloth that he is cut from? It don't get much better than that. Just telling you, it don't get much better than that. So yeah, that
Not
that
at all.
that
Not at all.
really exciting. Hey, you're talking about expertise in scouting, and that's what you need, an expertise in
Oh,
scouting.
I'm
The
about to get
only
into his
thing,
resume.
the
I'm
only,
definitely about to get into his
yeah,
resume.
the only thing that I'm looking forward to, how's he going to handle the cap? That's what I'm gonna have to really see him do that, and how he structures contracts to really kind of see, just how, if he is able to manage the salary cap well and navigate his way through, some tough decisions coming up, and obviously having to re-sign a lot of our guys while still being able to get, some impact free agents in. If he can do that, combining with, I think he's going to do all right with drafting. We could be talking about the makings of one of the better GMs in this league.
Oh yeah. So here's a little bit of the history on our new GM, Ian Cunningham. So he was the assistant GM for the Chicago Bears from 2022 to 2025. He was the first executive to hold the assistant GM title in Bears history. They also say he is the key architect in roster reconstruction, trades, draft planning, as well as player evaluation. He he was a main contributor to the Bears winning the NFC North title in 2025, and he oversaw the acquisitions that produced all pro honors and Pro Bowl selections in Chicago. So that's a good plus. Like that's just hearing that and knowing that we got that in Atlanta now, that's a big plus. Like, and I feel like I'm glad Matt made this move because I understand people have the saying, well, Matt isn't experienced in
You
this role. He doesn't know what he's doing in his role. Well, he's want to
you
go
know
get
what that
experience.
means? I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what that means. Okay. You know how Terry Fontenot loved to trade up, and listen, I ain't hating on the idea of trading up. Trading up, especially last year, got us got us, in my opinion, a a truly phenomenal football player in Pierce. And
Oh
also,
yeah,
we were able to get Watts out of that trade. But, this shows that this guy's going to try to maximize draft capital, both short and long term.
which we should, which we should, which we should. But also, and prior to being part of the Chicago Bears, he was part of the Philadelphia Eagles. He was part of the Philadelphia Eagles from 2017 all the way to 2021. So in 2021, he was the director of college scouting operations as well as he was the coordinator of player personnel. And he was an integral part to the Eagles front office during multiple playoff seasons and Super Bowl 52. Watching an interview with Ian Cunningham, he said that Howie Roseman, as well as Joe Douglas, was very integral to his learning curve in Philadelphia. He said when he was in Philly, he learned a lot from Howie Roseman as well as Joe Douglas. What you think about that so far?
Uh, I mean, that goes to, once again, as I said, he's learned from, a plethora of, GMs and people. One thing that the Falcons are bringing in is they're bringing in experience.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
they have, like, even though this might be Ian Cunningham's first shot actually holding the main GM title, the more I think about it, Ian Cunningham, sure, maybe it's a little bit of a new position for him and a new spotlight, but he ain't inexperienced. It
no,
ain't like he's just been. See, the thing about Terry Fontenot was Terry Fontenot spent 20 years in one place, just about. Terry Fontenot didn't get to branch around the league and learn from different people and learn their philosophies. Ian Cunningham did. Ian Cunningham was able to learn from a lot of different people, from Ozzie to Howie, and then he was learning under Ryan Poles and working with him. So this guy has learned from people, and he is going to take some of those ideas he got from all those guys, and he's going to utilize that for how he governs as a GM.
oh yeah. And speaking of his Baltimore days, he got to work with Ozzie Newsome as well as Eric DeCosta. He was there when everybody was writing the Baltimore Ravens off, and they came out in 2012 and won a Super Bowl. He was there through all of that. So to bring all of that experience and to be able to say, hey, I started at the bottom of every position and I worked my way all the way up to GM. I have been a part of franchises that people wrote off and said they could never get over the hump to win a championship. And we have that in Atlanta. That's the one thing that they've been saying about Atlanta since this franchise existed. We can't get over the hump. We can't finish the job. So now we are bringing in people who have been there and done it and seen it, and also we bringing in people who got a chip on their shoulder because they could have been there and they didn't get it done. So now we got an opportunity to have a juggernaut of a front office as well as a coaching staff in Atlanta that can improve this talent on this team as well as bring in more talent on this team to allow us to get where we eventually want, which is a Super Bowl in Atlanta. What's your thoughts on that, DB? Oh, I didn't even know he dropped. So back to this. So we're going to talk about the coaching staff, offensive side of the ball. We already know about our head coach Kevin Stefanski, so I'm gonna get right into it. Oh, he's back. But yeah, so now, DB, I'm finna start talking about this offensive coaching staff and some of the hires that we made since Kevin Stefanski has been here. And what I can say, as we have been speaking all night, experience. I believe experience is the key word to everything here, to this coaching staff, to this front office. everything. I feel like experience is the key. So we bring in Tommy Reese. Tommy Reese will be the offensive coordinator for our Atlanta Falcons moving forward in 2026. Last year, he was the offensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns, promoted mid-season and took over play calling duties. In 2024, he was the passing game specialist as well as the tight end coach for Cleveland. From 20 In 2023, he was the offensive coordinator as well as the quarterbacks coach for the University of Alabama. From 2020 to 2022, he was the offensive coordinator and the quarterbacks coach for Notre Dame. He began his NFL coaching with the San Diego Chargers and has risen throughout the collegiate ranks from graduate assistant to OC. So overall, he has about 4 or 5 years as an OC as well as a quarterback coach. And he's going to be a young mind. He's going to be able to bridge the young modern mind of the passing game with the old vision of Kevin Stefanski. Even though Kevin Stefanski is only 43, like from when he was around college football in the NFL to now with Tommy Reese, I feel like we're going to get that even balance of new school and old school that we can merge in for our Atlanta Falcons offense.
Well,
And then recently, I believe last night, we hired Tanner Engstrand to be our new offensive passing game coordinator.
well,
Now, I know some people felt like, oh, yeah, we don't want any retreads from the Jets, or we don't want any retreads from the Cleveland Browns. But hey, man, sometimes a change of scenery is just what some people need. And
well,
from my
I can go
recent
ahead and tell
understanding, I
you.
remember the last time we had some dealings with the Cleveland Browns, it worked for us. Alex Mack, Julio Jones, Kyle Shanahan. So
I
hey,
can go
it could
ahead and
maybe
tell
work again with
you
Kevin Stefanski
for a
and some of these
fact.
coaches we have on our coaching staff. But back to Tanner Engstrand, who is our new offensive passing game coordinator. He was with the Jets for 2005, 2025, and he was only there for 1 year as an NFL OC. He was the passing game coordinator and tight ends coach for the Detroit Lions from 2022 to 2024. He was also an offensive coordinator and a quarterbacks coach for San Diego in 2011 to 2017, as well as the OC for the XFL team, the DC Defenders. He was a quarterback at San Diego State from 2003 to 2004. He has experience in designing passing concepts and route combinations and quarterback rhythm. He has a strong background in pro and developmental coaching schemes. So I feel like with the hire of Coach Tanner, I think we're going to try to establish the balanced passing game with an effective running game, and we're going to make this offense a real juggernaut or in the NFL. I also like that the hirings that we made on this coaching staff, as well as on the offensive side of the ball, they all have been offensive coordinators and they all have called plays. And I feel like that is very huge. So now we have a lot of experience just on the offensive side of the ball. I hadn't even got to the defensive side of the ball, but just on the offensive side of the ball, we're bringing in experience. So we're bringing in Tanner, who is part of the Ben Johnson coaching tree. Us as Falcons fans, we have been saying for the last 3, 4 years that there is no reason why this offense couldn't be compatible to the Detroit Lions offense. Do you agree with that, Dirty Bird?
Well, I want to say several things, but first of all, I wanted to go back to Tommy Reese. Tommy Reese
If you're
and
talking, I can't hear you. You're muted.
oh, can you hear me now? Home, can you hear me?
But yeah, Falcons family, link is in the chat. Link is on the screen. Hit the link. Come on, share your opinion. But yeah, so next up we have Alex Van Pelt. Alex Van Pelt will be the quarterback coach, and once again, another veteran mind and another experienced mind for our
Hold on,
Atlanta Falcons.
can you hear me now?
You there, DB?
Hello?
But yeah, so next up we got Alex Van Pelt, the new quarterback coach for our Atlanta Falcons. His resume is very extensive. As of recent, he was the senior offensive assistant for the Los Angeles Rams. In 2024, he was the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. He has a long NFL coaching career, including offensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns from 2020 to 2023.
All right, can you hear me now?
From 2020 to 2023, as well as quarterback coach roles with the Bills, the Packers, the Buccaneers, as well as the Bengals. He also had a playing career in the NFL as a quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs in 1993, as well as the Buffalo Bills from 94 to 2003. He has a profile of being a veteran developer of quarterbacks with deep system knowledge and diverse positional coaching experience. So once again, that key word, experience. We are not going to be lacking on a coaching staff again here in Atlanta. We retained our running backs coach, Michael Petrie, which is huge. Hopefully, with retaining Michael Petrie, we can possibly retain Tyler Algier as well. But Michael Petrie, he will oversee the running backs, technique, ball security, blocking scheme, and scheme fit. He has experience in developing both veteran running backs as well as young rushing talents in multiple offensive systems. So with us going to a more zone blocking scheme and zap and gap scheme, we already have a running back coach that can come in and just fit in with the fit in. So I feel like that was a good retention by Coach Stefanski as well as Matt Ryan. As for our wide receiver coach, we have a new wide receiver coach in Robert Prince. He actually was part of, of our Atlanta Falcons staff from 2004 to 2006, back in the Michael Vick days. He was a wide receivers, running back, quarterback, tight end coach. Like, that's crazy. He has experience. He is a veteran coach with track record of developing top receiving talent in the NFL. He joined our staff in 2026, coaching overhaul and brings extensive positional specific teaching experience. We retained our tight end coach, Kevin Kroger. That's another move. I feel like with us retaining him, we could have the possibility of retaining Kyle Pitts as well. We bring in Bill Callahan. Now, I feel like with this move right here, Bill Callahan hire, it was on the fence for some fans because some fans did not want us to get rid of the Dwayne Leopard. But I feel like in making this move, it could be even or it could be an upgrade because of the Hall of Fame resume that Bill Callahan carried. He is a longtime NFL offensive line coach since 1995, former head coach of the Oakland Raiders and former head coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. He has coached and developed numerous all pro linemen across multiple franchises. One of the league's most respected line teachers, focusing on technique, physical development, and run scheme execution. And he also has previous history with Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland when they were actually successful from 2020 to 2023. What you think about these hirings so far, Dirty Bird?
All right, can you hear me? Hello?
If you're talking, I can't hear you.
Son of.
We have retained our assistant offensive line coach, Nick Jones,
Oh,
and he will continue to support the O line development as well as the works of the technique works of our offensive
all right,
linemen.
hey, can you hear me now?
Also, we have retained Tim Burbinich. He will be the pass game specialist slash games management coordinator. He will provide help with analytical support, game planning, and situational offense. So under all these moves, from what I see under Coach K, he is an offensive minded coach with an extensive experience in a run first balanced pro system. And with this move, we will emphasize the development of quarterback decision making and efficiency with the hirings of Van Pelt, Tommy Reese, and Inkstrom. We will enhance the passing game concepts and have a hybrid run pass scheme. We will also be a veteran led offensive line and we will have a continuity at running the ball and hopefully getting more growth out of these tight ends.
Hey, can you hear
On
me
to the
now?
defensive side of the ball. Everybody knows we retained Jeff Obrick as our defensive coordinator. We also retained Mike Rutenberg, but there's a possibility that Mike Rutenberg could be going to Tennessee to be their DC. We also got to retain Nate Ollie as our defensive line coach. We also retained Paul Barrett Rude as our inside linebacker coach. Jacque Smith as our outside linebacker coach. Justin Hood. He actually was almost poached. Somebody wanted to interview him to be DC, and the Falcons declined the offer. We also detained Dave Huxtable, our senior defensive assistant. So I believe on the defensive side of the ball, they wanted to keep the coaching staff the same, to keep the defense the same, to don't change nothing, to feel like to to continue the growth of our young players on defense, as well as to keep the veterans on our team, the Jesse Bates. Because this is what Jesse Bates' third, 4 year in Atlanta, and this is already his third or fourth defensive coordinator. So this will be one of the first years we'll be going into the next season with the same DC, I believe. So I feel like that's great, and I feel like that's also a huge plus. And I agree, Southside Ricky. We do need to get AJ competent help, because every time we have gotten AJ competent help, AJ looks good. Like we go back to the Casey Hayward. When Casey Hayward was good and healthy, it worked. When Mike Hughes was good and healthy, it worked. I don't know what it is about the players or the coaching that we have had these past few seasons, but I agree. Like we do need to put a clear number two across from AJ. I feel like it's time to we got to go get a big nasty in the middle. I I agree, Miss Pam. I do like the fact that they kept majority of the defensive coaching staff. I feel like 57 sacks in one season. Could we capitalize off that and do it again? We could. Are
Hey,
you
can
there,
you hear
Dirty
me
Bird
now?
Fly Through?
Can you hear me now? You can't hear me?
I think you might be muted. I can't hear you, brother.
Can't hear me now? Can't hear me now.
But yeah, so who we have in the chat? We got Miss Pam, Miss Southside Ricky, Mac 89. What's going on? Everybody like, share, and subscribe. Let's go.
Oh, someone's saying they can hear me. Hey, to the chat, can y'all hear me?
But yeah, so how does everybody feel about the direction of these Falcons? I'm going to put the link back on the screen. Come on the show. Whether you like it or not, let's talk about it. You never know. We might have a debate on this Sunday afternoon about the good and the bad
All right, they're
of
saying
these
they can
Atlanta
hear me.
Falcons.
You still can't hear me? I don't know. I don't know if he's not talking or what, but I can't. Hear him now. You still there? All right. He must have had to come back in. Yeah. Yo. Yeah, he must be having some issues now because I at least I don't see him up here, but I'm sure he's getting it figured out. But hey, y'all make sure to
Yes,
support
sir.
Georgia. All right, you hear me now?
I got you, big dog. I got you. We back and we live at
All
5.
right,
Let's go.
okay, because I was gonna say, but uh, shit. But hey,
Listen, I couldn't hear nothing. Listen, I couldn't hear nothing. I got one of my family up in the chat. He called me. He was like, "Yeah, man, I can hear your boy, but you can't hear him." I was like, "No, I can't hear him." So I just went out and brought myself back in. But yeah, we back live right before
yeah.
5. So let's handle business.
So I was gonna say, going back to the offensive staff, actually, the way I see it with Tommy Rees, I really don't know at the end of the day. I'm still unsure about Tommy Rees and his ability to call plays. And now as far as Instran goes, that is actually probably my favorite hire Kevin Stefanski made. Because I can go ahead and tell you right now, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
I can go ahead and tell you right now, he was not the problem with the Jets.
Oh
A
no.
matter of fact, he didn't even get fired from the Jets. He just left the Jets outright because of how bad of a situation it was. I mean, there were times. I mean, you got to remember that the at the end of the day, the Jets are the Jets, and the Jets, were essentially traded away. I think that was more so on the defensive side, but still, the Jets essentially threw in the towel on a season as much as an NFL team can. I mean that's just a thing where when you have a situation like that, ain't really much you can do. So look, I'm definitely optimistic about that hire, and I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up being the offensive coordinator either here or somewhere else in the
Oh,
future.
they said that he had options, but he chose to come here. And the whole thing with Tommy Reese, I just feel like Stefanski is trying to keep the bridge going to where he got an opportunity with Gary Kubiak to be an offensive coordinator, so he just trying to keep it going. And like we all got to look into it, just like people has been talking about of recent weeks. Nick Saban don't go get a sorry offensive coordinator to run his team, and he went 12-2 or 12-3 when he was the OC at Alabama. He also had a good game plan at Notre Dame. I don't believe that was the year that they beat Georgia. But yeah, as for the Tanner Eastern hire, if we can get those passing game concepts with the running game concepts with Coach K, man, we might have a lethal weapon.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a question here from Christy. She says, wouldn't restructuring both Falcons admin sides of the ball be rebuild? We just did that in a month. And I agree. We have brought in totally a new direction, a change of voice, a change of vision. We have not heard any of these opinions in the last 8 years or
Man, I'll
20 plus years.
I'll tell you what it is, okay? Because it's a situation where the Falcons they did rebuild, but not in what you would think of as a traditional NFL rebuild. The roster is probably going to stay in large parts the same. Now you might lose. You probably won't have Tyler Algier. Pitts is still an uncertainty. Even though I'm under the impression, even if it's under the franchise tag, Pitts will be back next year. You're. I mean, look, they're saying Michael Penix is going to be the starting again at quarterback at some point, and they're saying it could be as soon as week one, and if not week one, it could be sooner rather than later in the season, and the defense will be largely the same, but the Falcons rebuilt in terms of their front office structure. And I mean, now we even retained our defensive coordinator, but they
Yeah,
rebuilt their front office structure and how they operate business because of how bad, things appear to have gotten with the end of the last regime and how it was essentially, in a lot of instances, it was reported it was really you know, almost a toxic workplace from the standpoint of people didn't really know their positions and what they were supposed to be doing.
yeah. And we can see now at the direction that this franchise is going, they're done with the not holding people accountable because you don't quote unquote know your job. Coming in here now, you know exactly what your job is, exactly how Coach K said in his interview when it came to the roster. Well, I don't know what's going on with the roster, but now that Ian Cunningham is here, we'll know exactly where we're going to be headed with this roster. So I just like the moves that we're making, coaching wise. We have a few more weeks, or maybe like we got like what 4, 5 weeks until the league year start. So
We
we'll get to
have, I
see.
want to say it is, man, yeah, I think it's five weeks exactly until the start of the new league year because I'm trying to think. Yeah, it would, yeah, it would be five because the new league year starts on it starts on Wednesday, but we know all the action starts on Monday. So
Hmm.
Wednesday's just when they put ink to paper. And like even at that, a lot of the ramp up starts to begin that Sunday. So yeah, I I would say that that's one of the things. We're 5 weeks away. And hey, 5 weeks, 5 weeks ain't a long time.
No, like five,
Five
like
weeks will be here before we know it. I mean, you
look,
know what the saying is: the days go by slow, but large picture, the months they go by fast. Now, this last month went by pretty damn slow, but January always goes by slow. So,
yeah. But look at what we did in January. We got a brand new CEO. We got a brand new president of football. We got a brand new GM. We got a brand new head coach, and we got an improved coaching staff, offensively and defensively. So maybe in this next month, we really get to see what the GM and the scouting department will be up to this next month prior to the combine. What you think about that?
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and the combine's at the end of the month, I think. Actually,
Yep.
yeah, combine is. the end of this month. So I mean, look, it's you're gonna see things start to move pretty expeditiously after the Super Bowl, which is next week. You'll probably have like 2 weeks, of kind of a breather, but then you're gonna or 3 weeks maybe, but then you're gonna start hearing things.
Oh, there's already a rumor mill going on that George Pickens could be coming to the A. Is it a
I'm gonna be
possibility?
honest. I don't buy that. I just think that's something people are trying to get up for talk. I don't see that happening, man, because the Falcons have too many things to take care of, before you can even think about that. So I don't see George Pickens happening, but
But right now, with the league salary cap going up, we're sitting at like 26, 27 million, and that's before the Kirk Cousins deal goes into effect. That's before we either franchise tag or give Kyle Pitts a new deal. That's before we extend Drake. That's before we extend Bijan. Is there a possibility that we could restructure Jake, Chris Lindstrom, extend Jesse Bates? Like there is ways to put us in that top because right
I'm
now we
I'm
have the
I'm gonna
most money in our
I'm going
division.
I'm gonna be honest with you about one thing, because I've been saying there will be, I do think the roster will be largely the same, but there's going to be a tough decision to be made on like probably one or two players that are fan favorites that a tough decision may have to be made on. One of them is Jesse Bates. And I'm gonna be honest, about one of the guys you just mentioned. Also, I don't think it's a 0% chance Jake Matthews is playing somewhere else next year.
Mm,
Now, if I were willing to bet, then Jake probably is here next year. It's probably like a 90-95% chance, but especially with especially with how things, have played out with Bill Callahan. And can you still hear me?
yeah,
With Bill Callahan, wanting to come in, and probably he's going to want to prioritize building youth on this offensive line. Now, see, the reason why I think they keep Jake in large part at least one more year is because I don't think you have someone that you can say replaces Jake Matthews. Because even if you were to say, okay, we're going to kick Bergeron out to tackle, that creates a vacancy at guard.
yeah.
So that's still gonna be an issue of sorts. However, at the same time, I feel like we're going to see, I feel like we are approaching the end of Jake Matthews' time in Atlanta. And I don't think I think there's a non 0% chance that Jake Matthews is either cut or traded by the Falcons this offseason. Now, maybe there's another 1 year extension that Jake ends up getting, but at this point, like, I think there are some things on the table, because at the end of the day, even though we have money opening up, that money is going to be spent in large part on Drake London, on Bijan
Oh yeah.
Robinson, on
When it comes
Bergeron,
to
on a lot of these guys.
Jake Matthews, I see him. This could be his last season, but I can also see him trying to go chase the record of his dad of consecutive starts. So I can see that still being on the table. But I can see Jake Matthews playing out this last contract that he just got an extension on this past off season and just riding off in the sunset. So we got Jake Matthews for this season and next season.
Oh
So
yeah,
that
that's
gives us
right.
time
We did
to
just extend
prepare.
Jake. So yeah, we probably won't see another extension from Jake. It might, if anything, and I don't like saying this, but if anything, it might. I would not. say it is out of the realm of possibility that Jake is playing somewhere else next year. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I do think Jake will be back here next year, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. And that's all. That's all I'm saying about
Oh
Jake.
no,
But
and then it's just like Miss Pam just said here. With Caleb and Storm coming back, the offensive line running game will be better, of course.
oh yeah,
And I like in my opinion, I feel like there's a possibility we could upgrade Ryan Ryan Newsom because there's some free agent centers out there. Like people have been talking about the Tyler Limbaum, but I also seen ooh, excuse me. I also seen Cade Cade Mays, the former Bulldog. He's a free agent this season. You have Sean Ryan, the free agent center from Green Bay. So we can go get some guys who can fit this scheme to come in. And I feel like a veteran center would be better for Michael Penix than a rookie center. But I agree. And I also feel like the only way we can make all of our own re-signings work, like re-signing the Drakes, the re-signing of well, the extending of Drake, the extending of Bijan, the re-signing of Kyle Pitts, the extension of Bergeron. I feel like all of this will be key on the succession of Michael Penix. If Michael Penix can come out and be day one, the starters, training camp, ready to go, no hiccups, take the reins over this team, and he is successful. These next 3 years, we will be able to re-sign all of our cream of the crop. All of the young players that's here now, we will be able to re-sign them because the most valuable position on the field will still be under a rookie contract for 3 seasons. So we will be able to do what we need to do to keep this roster constant and to keep this roster afloat and don't have to go through what we went through after 2016 or after 2018 when all of our talent wanted money, but we couldn't pay money because of the whole we're going to make this person a Falcon for life. What's up, 330?
what's up, OG? Oh yeah, hey, drop that link again.
Got to.
Yeah.
Link is in the chat. And then just thinking about the Kevin Stefanski with Bijan, name one running back that Coach K had in Cleveland that's even close to Bijan. Yeah, he had Nick Chubb, but Nick Chubb ain't Bijan.
Oh no, he can't do the things Bijan can do.
And,
Like that.
and
That.
then
Hey,
and then we
shoot.
have a coach that was part of the Detroit Lions offense, and we all have been stating how this offense could be close or similar to the Detroit Lions. Well, welcome to the show, 330. What's happening?
Hey,
Professor
What's
OG.
up, OG?
what's going on? What's going on, peoples? Falcon fans.
Yeah, you gotta make your entrance right here. Hey, let them know.
Man, look, I meant to get up here on time, man, but as y'all know, man, we got about a foot of snow. I've been
Man,
yeah,
Oh,
man, I've been shoveling and trying to
hey,
get it right.
shovel, shovel, shovel.
Yup. But yeah, man, it did a lot. It did it like it did back about 30 years ago. It used to snow like that up here. So what I
man.
missed, man, give me a quick
So,
summary.
so basically, we were just talking about the new structure of the front office. As you see on the screen, we got the CEO, Greg Beatles. We got the president of football, Matt Ryan. We got the new GM, Ian Cunningham, and the new head coach, Coach K. And we were just talking about all of their roles and what they're going to be doing for the Falcons. We went over the new offensive coaching staff and the additions and talking about the defensive staff. And now we're just discussing on what they can do to get this team over the hill, back into the playoffs, competing for a Lombardi. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Oh yeah. Um, Yeah, it's coming together. It had me a little shook early, but it's coming together. I think that um I'm hoping that we got the right people in place to work these contracts and get with these players along with the free agency and then the draft, which we're very limited, in the draft. So, but it's coming together. It's been coming together pretty good. I was a little panicky, you know, at first, but hey, man, sometimes you just got to be patient and wait it out. But I got a couple of questions though, and I kind of heard what you were saying. Um, Out of all of the key players that we got, who are the most likely to leave, and who are the ones that most likely to stay? As far as the contracts and being able to keep them.
Oh man, of course. The answer Belo's world. How do y'all think about our new coaches mesh hires? Do you think it would blend? I do. As I stated earlier, you have the run first scheme of Coach K, and then you bring in somebody like Coach Tanner from the Jets. The Jets had a top eight wide open ratio. Like when the routes is ran, after that the players be open, but their completion percentage, their yards and their touchdown was bottom three. And for them to let them go in year one, to let him go in year one, and we have him. So to blend that Detroit Lions offense concepts with Kevin Stefanski run game and his passing concepts, bringing that here with the weapons that we got, we can make some noise. We can make some noise.
What do you think about Van Pelt, that hiring there? After the development that he did in New England.
I'm
All
not
of
sure
these
about
have
Van Pelt. I'm gonna be honest. I'm really, you know, now this is an important position. Also, I'm not sure now about Van Pelt. I'm really not in terms of his ability to develop Michael Penix. I'm not sure. I'm gonna be honest.
Why? Give me something.
Man, I mean, hey, I can give you some. That's why I say I'm not sure how to feel about that. I mean, this guy has worked with, I mean, he worked most recently with, he worked with the Rams last year. He was the offensive coordinator in New England for 1 year, and he worked with Drake May. And I mean, Drake May didn't look bad under him. So I mean there's that. I don't feel like I got reason to feel bad about it, but I also don't feel like there's anything overly encouraging. So it's once again it's one of those wait and sees.
Okay, but do you notice kind of and it just might be me, but I'm looking at with Matt Ryan up in there that they're kind of going with the coaches that have been on different levels in football,
Yeah, I mean definitely.
even up to being a player.
That's not a bad idea. You're getting experience up in there.
So this guy can actually really talk to Matt Ryan in his language. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
You know,
But in
right.
terms of just working with because see, my thing with the quarterback coach is you need that guy that it's all that quarterback coach, especially to a young quarterback. It's just so crucial that like you know at the end of the day, I he's a veteran voice, so I like that. But I'm gonna be honest about Van Pelt. Maybe it's just I'm not really too familiar with him, so like I know he worked, I know the places he's been, but I'm not too familiar with him. that's the only reason why I say I'm kind of, unsure, which is why I don't really know what to say at this moment about him too much.
Okay.
So I could tell you a little history on Van Pep. So this past season that just ended, he was the senior offensive assistant for the LA Rams. Last year, he was the offensive coordinator under Jared Mayo in his New England Patriots staff. Prior to that, he was the offensive coordinator slash quarterback coach for the Cleveland Browns from 2020 to 2023. He also worked with Aaron Rodgers during his second MVP season, I believe. So I just feel like all of these moves that they made is for your young quarterback. And I also like the fact that the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the quarterback coach, the passing game coordinator, they all call plays in the NFL. So we not bringing in. They all should have a feeling or a grasp on situational football, what to do in this situation. And I also like about Van Pelt, he's very big on fundamentals. He's very big on the footwork. He say the footwork explains everything about the quarterback. So to have those in there, I don't see no problem. I don't see Michael Penix having an issue. I only see him growing with these additions we made to this offensive coaching staff. Like I feel like with these resources you're putting at hand, it's for Michael Penix Jr. not to fail.
He's had some decent positions, on that offensive side. He's dealt with quarterbacks. He's called plays. He's dealt with the running backs. Um, he's got some good experience. And according to the teams that he went to, he was actually able to work with veteran quarterbacks.
Okay.
Yep.
And I'm trying to see when
And
he
the
Like,
was the
hey,
team,
running
hey,
back coach. Who was? I'm trying to look and see when he was the running backs coach. I'm trying to see who was under him. What running backs they had at Green Bay.
if that's what it is, I'll take y'all at y'all's word, and you say he's gonna be all right for Michael Penix. Like that's I just wa- I'm it's n- I just wasn't sure how to feel about him from the standpoint of I'm not really that familiar with how he actually operates.
well, he was the OC that called the plays when Cleveland went to the playoffs and Coach K had COVID. Van Pelt was the OC that called the plays for those playoff wins, and it said that he was an integral part to the development of, of Baker Mayfield as well as the Deshaun
Okay.
Watson
Okay.
before the
So
injury.
see, I've learned more now. Okay. I like hearing that.
But yeah, it's like so. Who would y'all like to bring back? Like with the moves with the moves that we made in the front office, the moves that we're making on this coaching staff. Does it look like we're going to bring Kyle Pitts back on a long term deal, or do you feel like we might franchise tag him first, see how he works, and then give him a long term deal like halfway through the season or in
It
next year's offseason?
if I were willing to bet, I think this is my standpoint. I think it's going to be the franchise tag. Now, I could see Kyle Pitts getting $18 million a year because the franchise tag is 16. The most I would pay Pitts is 18 a year. That's the most I would give to him. So I'm looking at it from a standpoint of, you know, okay, 3, 4 years, maybe 4 years, 72 million, is something around what he gets, but I think you probably franchise tag him. I think that Kay Nellis is someone who I definitely want to see back. I think we'd all love to see Tyler Algier back, but we got to be real with ourselves. There's going to be one odd man out. And, Tyler Algier, at the end of the day, he's going to be able to go test the open market somewhere. and he's gonna get he's gonna get a payday either as a starter, or maybe he will be a running back too, but he'll be on a team that will still use him more than he was used in Atlanta. And also, man, you can find a running back, just you can find a diamond in the rough at that position.
So you're saying franchise tag Kyle Pitts
That's what I think is gonna happen.
and then deal with Drake.
Yeah. And some other guys too. You got Diablo. I mean that will free up some money, in the short run.
That's gonna be about 50 million, bro. Close
I
between
look at
40
it
and
like
50.
I look at it like this: you extend Drake now, the contract don't go into effect until next season. You extend Bijan now, the contract don't go into effect for 2 years. So we get them taken out the way, and that gives us cap space. Focus on Bergeron because I believe his contract comes up
Oh
this
yeah,
offseason
Bergeron's another one you got to
or
extend.
next offseason. We also got to look into the possibility of extending um, Diablo, which I agree. Or we could wait that out to next offseason because the main parts are already taken care of. Caden Ellis, my whole thing about Caden Ellis, I would love for Caden Ellis to come back, but do the defense plan to put Jalen Walker more at inside linebacker. That's my whole thing. Like, I feel like that is the piece right there that could make Caden Ellis expendable. You put Jalen Walker in that position, you can go get another edge.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like Walker should be that guy that's still you can have on the now. You might Walker. I feel like should be that flexible guy that you primarily play him off the edge, and maybe you try him at inside linebacker some, but still I feel like Walker needs to primarily he needs to be on that edge. Now it never hurts to have depth at your edge also, and like you still look at some of it. You're gonna need some of that depth at edge. You're
Yeah,
gonna need to still add a depth guy at edge. I also think too. So there's still things you gotta take care of with this team.
because I look at it like if you put Jalen at linebacker, we still got JPJ, Leonard Floyd, Braylon Trice, Khalid Kareem, Zach Robinson, not Zach Robinson, Zach Harrison at defensive end. Um, who else? Because I don't think we should cut Braylon Trice. I think like, but I understand it. If he can't be come back healthy this year, then I feel like he would have to be a scratch. But I feel like that's that big end that we need, like outside of Zach Harrison, so we can keep Braylon Dorless more inside as that Russian DT. We need Braylon Trice healthy, unless we go get us a big defensive end because we don't have that big end outside of Zach Harrison. And then once Zach Harrison went out, it was
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I do want to see Trice, be healthy and play his position because I had a lot of high hopes for that guy, that young man.
oh yeah,
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you, from what I saw, that injury it was kind of self-inflicted because he had what I called a Euro step in his move bag, and it worked in college. But as soon as he tried it in the pros, it didn't work. It was just a whole different level of how that Euro step had him on one leg, and he running into those to those guys that are not college players. And when he did that, he was gone.
okay. OG, let me ask you. So would you bring AK back?
Yeah, yeah,
Here's
What type?
here's the thing about here's the thing about AK, man. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I think AK hurt his value this year. Hey, AK was supposed to kind of be that guy you looked at as he could be a breakout guy on this edge, but instead, man, he got what? One sack, half a sack.
Yeah, because like for the past 2 seasons, counting this
So
season we
you
just
yeah,
ended,
you might be able to get
uh,
AK back for like maybe 4 or 5 million a year, like that,
towards
maybe
the end
less
of the
than
season,
that. And
AK
and if
will
you can
always
do
get you
that,
4 to 5 sacks.
and if
But
you
this
can do
season, he
that,
just ain't do it.
then yeah, I like you. I mean, I think for that low, sure, but
Yeah.
anything over like probably even $5 million, he's got to go.
So what? Like give him like 2 years, 10 million. 2 years, 8, 9 million.
Yeah, that's around what I would do.
That's why I said I would
Okay.
bring him back. I think you could. I think you could get him at a decent price to be in your
Okay.
rotation.
What about D'Angelo Malone coming back from injury? Do we re-sign him?
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to think on that.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right about that now. Because I would rather keep. I would rather focus on Diablo.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would.
So what
and see
about
the
Cater?
thing with
Do
even
we bring
bringing,
Cater back? Like, do we re-sign Cater?
yeah,
Oh, definitely.
yes,
Yeah, definitely.
because I'm vocal about it, man. Walker needs to be on the edge.
In my opinion, I think re-signing Caden and potentially re-signing Pitts, whether it's franchise tag or a long-term deal, I believe those two will be the top priority when a
And
free agent
that's how it
starts.
should be.
But here's my thing with Pitts, man. Are we going to be able to use him in this scheme the way that
We
the way
should
that
be able to.
I'm not talking about, maybe he have one or two big games. Cause with B John, man, B John gonna get so many touches, man, that I think that we just need a tougher tight end like that, Joshua and the other one, I can't think of his name right now. Those
Already got
Gonzalez.
fans
Warner.
that
Warner.
Warner, yes, his name Warner. That was, he's coming out of the backfield blocking. He's doing a
But
great
I can
job on
see
the line
Warner.
blocking.
I can see Warner being more of a fullback in this game, like a full-time fullback.
Now, if they do that, then it'll make sense. It'll make more sense.
Like
I
I can
just,
see Warner being a full-time fullback slash H back, and I can see Kyle Pitts and maybe Joshua Simon being the 12 personnel backs, unless they feel like they can go get a tight end in free agency like a Dawson Knox, K Connect, David Njoku, or somebody like that. But I feel like if you're gonna go after any of those guys, why not just keep Kyle Pitts? He's younger. He's already in the building.
but see,
Because
with
I feel
Warner, go ahead.
see with Warner, I don't think he will be an integral part to the passing game. I feel like with Warner as your starting tight end, we looking more at the Los Angeles Rams offense when they had Tyler Higbee. He's there, but he's not really a factor in the passing game. How he will be here, like how Kevin O'Connor them used T.J. Hawkinson in Minnesota, or how the Detroit Lions use Laporta. That's what I think we're going to be getting out of a Coach K offense. Like your tight end is going to be almost like how the Ravens use Andrews and Likely.
I was
Hey,
about to say the opposite.
I'm getting ready to drop out. Y'all have a good one.
Okay.
Same to you,
All
bro.
right.
Hey, man, I was about to say the
But
opposite,
yeah,
man.
I can see us having heavy 12 personnel,
Right?
two tight ends, two wide receivers, one running back. I can see us. We already know we're gonna get a heavy play action, so it's like
And I think that's
We
what
just got to
Warner.
see,
What
like, we got to
I
see
think,
what we're gonna do on the outside when it comes
right?
to wide receivers, because I feel like that has to be a big emphasis too, because you have to get the defense to go downfield. You have to get the separation for the run game. You got to get the separation for the play action to force that mismatch to where you got a tight end or a running back on the linebacker. So that wide receiver opposite Drake, it got to be somebody who the defense is gonna respect. Whether they gonna put their top corner or they say, "Hey, cover him 1-on-1," or we'll put a safety over the top. But we got to have somebody to complement Drake that's gonna open up everything else for the tight ends as well as the running back.
And you think we're gonna Mooney has a chance to stay, or you think he's pretty much gone? Can y'all hear me? Oh, he fell out. Okay, he's back. Georgia, Texas boy, did you hear my question
No, sir. Couldn't hear
about?
you.
I was asking about Mooney. I think a lot of that depends on what we do with Mooney,
Facts.
and I know this is going to be an unpopular statement, and I think Seals is going to play a part in this too. I think he's made a case to at least stay in the room for next season.
I can see that, but I only say depending on how many wide receivers we keep. Like if we not keeping 6, 7 wide receivers, I don't see it with David Seals. I think he might be a practice squad. And then when it comes to Mooney, it just depends on the health. Like if Mooney is healed from the collarbone injury, and we feel like if we go add another wide receiver to be number 2 or number 3 and it'll work, then yeah. But if they feel like Mooney is not the answer, let's just part ways and get that money and just build a brand new wide receiver room. Are we gonna give Casey Washington an opportunity? Are we gonna give Chris Blair opportunity?
Man, I just think I feel bad for Chris Blair, man. I just think he just keeps falling through the cracks, man.
Hmm. And
Yeah,
then Casey, he's productive, but he can't stay healthy. It's those concussions with Casey. He can't stay on the field.
yeah. He's gonna have to know when to. I mean, he tries to catch every ball, but he's gonna have to learn and make business decisions because of how he's injury prone as far as those concussions.
Oh yeah. And then it's like outside of the offense, what do we do at cornerback too? Are we gonna let Mike Hughes play out the last year of his second of his 2-year deal? Are we gonna give Kobe Brown an opportunity to be CB2? Are we gonna look at a free agent cornerback? And there are some good free agent cornerbacks out there who we could probably get on a team friendly deal, or hey, I played under you before type of deal. So it's like we would just have to see. Like I think they put the right pieces in line that we will be able to see win this division, go to the playoffs. I think it's possible.
But see, like you got things to look at, like you know, Penix. He likes Casey. That's one of his guys. Just like Seals became one of Kirk Cousins, targets, even though it was by default, but he still was going to him because Mooney was Mooney was injured, and then he came back and he wasn't just something was missing, and then Hodges, I thought he was going to step up, but he wasn't able to do it. Chris Blair wasn't getting his he just wasn't getting his opportunities.
At all. At all.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I feel like that go back to the previous coaching staff. If you knew Mooney was hurt since training camp, since the first day of training camp, he been hurt. and you had Nick Nash and Chris Blair and Casey Washington and all these guys lined up. Why didn't you play those guys? Instead, you played the best wide receiver who can block in David Seals. You didn't even bring up Cordero Hodge. There was plenty of weeks that Cordero Hodge was a healthy scratch. You got your
And
best special teams player not playing.
right, and then then when Drummond came up, Drummond, he tried to make a case,
Yeah,
that
and I forgot about Drummond. This dude balled out in the preseason. You didn't even bring him up, but instead you brought up the best wide receiver who can block. Period. You
right.
you brought up the best blocking wide receiver not named Drake in David Seals. You were not worried about the wide receiver performance. So you say the reason that Ike Hilliard was let go because the wide receiver performance never got better.
And I'm pretty sure that Ike didn't make those picks. You know what I'm saying? I think it was collective.
It's like we could have had something that was competent of a better wide receiver room than what they put out there this past season. And I think with this current offensive staff that we have, we're not going through those boneheaded decisions anymore. Like we are finally about to be ran like a competent franchise in the NFL. Like this bottom of the barrel stuff is bad. Like when you got a coach who called himself a loser, yeah, you got to go.
Yeah, man. It was terrible though. It was. I
And I
think
was
he
a
got
fan.
in over his head, man. I just think he got in over his head, and a lot of times, man, it is in those type positions, man. You really don't know how to balance it out, man, without throwing yourself under the bus.
In my opinion, when it came to the having to let people go, the people that really needed to be let go, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. And that's where I feel like that was the failure for Raheem Morris. I understand this your boy, but you just let your other boy go in Jimmy Lake, so why can't you let him go? You already said that TJ Yates is lined up to be the next OC. So let TJ Yates call the plays until you can get another OC in here. But you ain't want to do that. You wanted to ride it out with Zach for 2 years. You, for 2 years. And it didn't work. And then there was an interview recently when Michael Penix was like, I ran the plays that was called. There ain't no hindrance of me getting under center. I can get under center. I can do shotgun. It don't matter. I run the plays that's called. That's all I can do, and I try to execute what's given to me at the best of my ability.
Yeah. But that's what was that. I think that in a nutshell, was what really hurt Raheem was the inability to make the calls. I don't even know if he recognized whether he should, even if he should do them or when he should make the calls. The timeouts, the um, when you need to like pull a coach to the side, bring a coach out of the booth, play certain players in preseason, just stuff like that that you know the head coach is supposed to definitely be able to do those things. But
Yes,
it's hard to do that when you got a lot of first year play callers and first year coordinators under you. You got to watch everything.
and that's why I feel like the whole emphasis on this head coaching hire was experience. I think the top coaches it was Harbaugh, Tumblin, Stefanski, and LaFleur from Green Bay. They was watching to see what was gonna happen. They was gonna bring in an experienced head coach, and if you notice, two of those are defensive minded coaches, and two of those are offensive minded coaches. But no matter what, we was going to get the experience. Nobody knew that Sean McDermott was going to be fired that following Monday. I guarantee you, if there was even a requisite that Sean McDermott was going to be let go, that our head coach search would have still been going on Monday morning. But nobody knew that Buffalo was going to do that.
You think, Matt? You think he would have? been a good fit for Atlanta?
because he's a leader. Bringing in McDermott would have been the same reason you bringing in John Harbaugh, you bringing in Mike Tomlin, a leader of men, and he knows what it takes to build a winning team. Now, have they won the Super Bowl? No, but you cannot say the Buffalo Bills have not been a competitive winning team.
But do you those type coaches with that type of pedigree? Do you think they would come to a team that pretty much you're going to be told that we really want to keep Ulbrich here? Um,
But
this is the
see,
package deal.
I feel like with that, now that right there would have been different. I feel like if we would have signed a defensive minded coach, then I don't think Ulbrich would have been here. But bringing in an offensive minded coach, that helps us. That helps the offensive minded coach. Like, okay, if I keep Ulbrich, my defensive side of the ball is already set. I ain't got to get in competition with all these other teams to get a defensive coordinator.
So you don't think that it would be easier to win over a offensive minded coach in that scenario versus the defensive minded coach?
If if the scenario was, hey, whichever head coach come aboard, you got to keep Jeff Ulbrich. You can win that argument with an offensive minded head coach. If the defensive minded head coach got a different vision and a different philosophy on how he wants the defense to run, why would you keep Jeff Ulbrich?
Yeah, but I think that was a good move though. You know, with the success of the defense being so young and all. I think that was something that
Yeah,
they really needed to do. Stand on
man,
business as far as keeping him.
this defense improved light years what it was the year prior. Statistically, sacks, turnovers, getting off the field on third down. Like the defense improved. If you can bring that back, why not? Because there were so many times the defense would get off the field when they need to get off the field, but the offense wasn't right. The offense three and out. The offense get a turnover. The offense don't hold on to the ball long enough to where the defense going back out there in 90 seconds after just getting the ball back.
And I think that's going to be a level of confidence that's going to come with that too. Knowing that your defense is probably 80% where you need to be at this point. You got a guy coming in and all he got to do is just focus in on his offense and special teams. And he brought in some guys that were in my terms, when I'm reading about these guys, a lot of these guys were developers
Yes,
of players, to and see when you're a developer, you're a trainer, you're gonna have the patience, you're gonna know you're not gonna overwhelm the guy that you're trying to develop. You're not gonna overwhelm him. Cause see, if you're not a developer or you don't have that much experience in that position, you're gonna overwhelm. You're either gonna overwhelm the player or you're gonna say, you're gonna doubt the ability of this player, and you, especially a quarterback, and you're not gonna call the plays for him. You're not gonna make him look good.
and that's just like we was discussing earlier. They added experience. They know, like this was the one thing that Raheem couldn't realize. Like I understand we got some mature young players, but we are still a young team. You can't have a young offensive staff and a young team. So I like that Matt Ryan and Coach K came together, and if you look at this coaching staff, it's experience. Everybody has been. This is not the first or second year of somebody doing this job. They all been doing this job at least 5 years plus. That's what I like about the experience of this young team. You're gonna get the best out of all your players, from your starters to your practice squad players.
Yeah, man, and shout out to our general manager, man. I know it's probably not a big, important to some people, but I like the fact that you know, him actually getting when he's getting his job, getting his the hiring, that he was already at the Senior Bowl, you know, instead of in Atlanta or waiting to see what we were going to do. You know,
Hmm.
he was like, he pretty much was saying, either way, I got to go out here and see what's going on in the Senior Bowl. I got to look at these players. Either way, no matter where I go,
Oh yeah, and I
you
like
know.
the candidates. I like the people who Matt Ryan and the search committee felt like these guys were the right fit for what we're trying to build in Atlanta. These guys have all been somewhere where a vision and a standard and or culture was set and established, and it worked, and it ended up in getting the ultimate goal in the NFL, which is winning a Lombardi Trophy. Like I like the James Lightford dude, the dude from Georgia Tech from Houston. He got the history with the Patriots. I liked the Andy Whittle. He had history with the Steelers, history with the Ravens, history with the Eagles. I like the Ian history with the Bears and a major figure in what the Bears did over these last few seasons. And he was part of the Ravens and the Eagles. So I understood what Matt Ryan and the search committee was looking for when they came to GM. They wanted somebody to come in here who knows what it takes to establish a vision, period. Not just go out and draft the best player or go out and bring in the best coaches, but actually establish a vision of winning football.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, he was a part of a nice build in Chicago, in my opinion, a nice build. You know, because I'm gonna tell you, if you would have told me that the Bears would be in the playoffs in 2025,
Come on
I would
now.
have from what I saw the year before that. Oh, I'd have been laughing, bro. I'd have been like, yeah, okay,
To what we saw from then to winning the division,
right.
them, the Patriots. And what did they do? They went and got experience. Even though Ben Johnson is a first time head coach, the man has been experienced on the offensive side of the ball in calling plays.
You know, I'm not gonna
Everything
knock.
else with just like the
You.
Patriots with
Uh,
Mike Brady. Yes, I'm a defensive minded head coach, but I understand what it takes to have a winning football team. I'm gonna go get an experienced offensive coordinator in Josh McDaniels to work with Drake May. I've seen it work before, and I know it can work again.
but yeah, man, I just I just couldn't imagine um coming in and getting a job like Raheem. You know, the way he got his job, and just coming in with two first time guys to manage my offense and my defense.
Yeah.
I
Oh
just
well.
I just couldn't imagine that. And see, now we got the direct opposite. You know, it's you
Yep.
know direct opposite. Um,
Yeah. We're actually implementing a structure. Like, listen, like everybody who was coming in knows their job. There isn't a question mark no more when it comes to this coaching staff. Everybody who's coming in, they know their role. That's a plus. Like, and that's why I feel like the Matt Ryan hire is working. Yes, I'm inexperienced. Yes, this is my first time, but I got connections outside of being a Hall of MVP winning quarterback, potentially Hall of Fame quarterback. I was an analyst for CBS. I got to go around the background and see how these teams operate and how they work. I got to work next to Bill Cowher. We had plenty and countless conversations. Like I got connections in the NFL to if I ever got the opportunity to be in charge of a franchise, I know what I wanted to look like. And then he's taking that with his personal experience. Like, man, I know where it took us to win in Atlanta. If, and I know what it took us to lose in Atlanta. If I can just take my personal experience as well as what I learned on the job and bring that together, we can have a winning culture here.
yeah, and that was even though I'm not ashamed to say it. I questioned the resume, Matt Ryan's resume of going into that position. But I also said that he knows the Falcons and he knows football. And also with the connection that he got, like you said, like with Bill Cowher. Okay. He probably had some conversation with Bill, and Bill Cowher probably talked to Matt and said, man, you probably can do that job, man. With, told him what it would take. Okay, you don't have the experience, but you have the pedigree in you that once you lock in on that position, on that job, and get the right people around you, oh, you definitely you're gonna be something to deal with. And I think that if Bill Cowher didn't think that he could do that job, he would have told him also, and we probably wouldn't have Matt Ryan in the building, because I don't think that Matt Ryan, the kind of guy that I saw him as, would roll the dice and kill his legacy and not believing in what he's going to do or being able to do with this franchise. I don't think he would have. I don't think he
Oh,
would have risked it.
oh no, oh no, oh no. And if you haven't heard, one of our top scouts, last year he was the director of college scouting, has just been promoted to be the director of scouting. Period. So he is now in charge of all the scouting, and he was at Mobile this week while we were still waiting on our GM. So now, hey, just keep building this team. Just keep building this team.
Have anything been said about just anything about who jumped off the page for the Falcons based off of what their needs were?
Matt Ryan said a little bit like the hiring of Ian Cunningham. He just liked his background and like how he worked, but I don't think nobody really just said like because like I say, a lot of these guys they all have similar backgrounds. And when like Ian Cunningham, he was ranked in the top execs under 40 back in 2020. So and then he turned down the GM job in 2023 for the Cardinals. So I think he was just waiting on the perfect opportunity. And if your name is being mentioned in circles of being the next GM in the NFL and you turned down jobs, I think that says a lot.
Okay.
That almost speaks like when when Ben Johnson said, you know what, I'm gonna go back to the Detroit Lions. I'm gonna go back to Detroit for a year, and then the next year he went to the Bears, and in year one he came in and won the division. In year one, I was just a OC for the Detroit Lions. We've been taking names for the last 4 or 5 years. Wasn't nobody winning the division, and I go to my own team, start running my own team, and take over the division. But 3:30. So let me ask you a question. With all these head coaches hiring now, now in the book, how do you feel about the Mike LaFleur going to the Cardinals and Clint Kubiak going to the Raiders?
Hmm. Um, who's gonna have the number one pick? The Raiders.
Yep, Raiders got the
Okay.
number one. I think they taking Fernando Mendoza.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. He's gonna come off the board first. He still got a lot of work to do, man. Them Raiders look rough. What do you think they're gonna do with what's my boy name? Hmm, the quarterback. It's slipping my mind right now for the Raiders.
Gino,
Gino, yeah, Gino.
I think they're gonna keep him as a backup. I think they'll keep him as a backup. But
Wow.
yeah, I think the Raiders might go with Fernando Mendoza, number one overall, because the whole Raiders front office was at the championship game against Miami.
Uh,
Then they got 80 million plus in cap, and I think that was before the new salary cap increase. So they're up there, just like the Titans. The Titans got a top five pick, and I think they got close to 100 million in cap.
They got a little work to do. Um, but I think they're going to make some strides though. Tennessee and Arizona, I think they got a situation there that they're going to have to really. I think these two coaches they're needed on those teams.
Yeah,
They're needed, man.
and I think there was a big emphasis on either leadership or offensive minded coaches because you got John Harbaugh going to the New York Giants, so that's strictly leadership. You
Right.
got Stefanski coming to the Falcons. You can say that's offensive mind and some of leadership. You got Robert Sala going to the Titans. You can say that's leadership. You got the Jeff Halfley going to the Dolphins, the DC from Green Bay, leadership. You got who else? You got Joe Brady staying with Buffalo to become the head coach. Offensive mind. You keep your offensive mind the same with Josh Allen. Who else? Cleveland, Todd Munkin, offensive mind. You trying to get the most that you can get out of Shador Sanders.
And you thinking he's gonna be the quarterback going forward?
Oh, you didn't see the video of when Todd Munkin came in the building and he dapped up Shador talking about, man, we was finna draft you with last year when he was on the Ravens.
Oh wow.
So I think Shador might be his guy.
Well, mm, well, all the well that ends well sometimes.
Yeah,
Yep. Because I didn't. I was like, wow, man, they got a mess there in Cleveland, and Stefanski, him leaving with the little controversy. I'm glad it faded out. I didn't think he got a good shake at it anyway, but
right.
that's just how it goes sometimes, man.
And
People gonna
then
talk.
we never know. What if Todd Munkin go into Cleveland looking like how Cleveland looking at Cleveland how he did at Georgia when he had the QB competition between Stetson Bennett and Carson Beck. Like he can go in there and say, you know what, it's a QB competition between Shador Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. And what if Deshaun Watson come back healthy? Then you got another QB competition there. Like they still got three capable quarterbacks on their roster. And then I hear this rumors going out that the Falcons might, once we release Kurt, we might go try to trade for Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah. You know what? People been throwing that scenario out there saying that, when they was talking about Stefanski and how he conducted himself there, they were saying that he probably would bring Dylan. I don't I, I don't think he should do that. I I just think that'll be a unpopular move at the time. And not saying that, that should influence him to do it, but I just think we need to do something else. Like
Man, to be honest,
huh?
if we are prepared for Michael Penix to be the starter, just roll with Easton Stick or Kyle Trask.
There you go. I ain't even got to say nothing. I asked about Trask
Hmm.
in the chat on another platform, and I was like, "Well, what they gonna do with Trask? He ain't no chopped liver now."
But I feel like if we got all these coaches in here, we already got three young quarterbacks on our roster. We already got three young quarterbacks on our roster. If we know for a fact that Michael Penix is the franchise quarterback that we are hoping him to be, why not go with the quarterback that's already on the roster?
Sometimes you need to roll with what you got until you need to make a move. But like you're saying, it's gonna depend on if Penix is gonna be the guy.
All of this, everything that we want to do, all the moves that we made, it all depends on Michael Penix Jr. Like if he can come out and have a resurgence how Drake May and Caleb Williams did, NFL, watch out.
And I think he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder too, because the expectations were, and he probably was feeling pretty good about himself too. And all of them guys passed him. performance wise and how they're looking. So, I think he got some pride with him that he said, man, I gotta redeem myself. Definitely got to do that.
And then just hearing all these critics and some people already writing them off, it's like there's a fire up under Michael Penix.
Well, in my opinion, there's two fires under Michael Penix: the fire that he gonna light, and the fire that is Michael Penix the guy, based off of his health, availability. It's gonna be it's gonna get warm. He's gonna have to come in and he's gonna have to be the guy. I think it's very important that he does that.
Oh yeah. We got a question here from Belo's World. He say, "Do you think Braylon Trice will be back or drop after missing 2 seasons?" In my opinion, I feel like Braylon Trice is the missing edge rusher that we need. We got the speed guy, we got the Swiss Army guy, we got the long guy. We don't have that power bull rush guy outside of Zach Harrison, and then sometimes we kick Zach Harrison inside. But I think if it all depends on his health. If he can come back healthy, I think Braylon Trice could wreak havoc in this defense.
I gotta agree with that. I want to see him play, man. I had a lot of high hopes for him. I really
Because just
did.
look at like we really have to sit down and look at what our defense did in 2025. You had a second year player in Braylon Dorless, a interior guy with almost 9 sacks.
Now we did turn it around though, cause we was like
Like
no pressures, no sacks, were
that,
very limited, and I'm
that's
like,
all
man,
that we've been missing. And I rock with Grady, but Grady didn't have the help to do what these young players did this past season. Like, think about it. Outside of Onyemata and Leonard Floyd, a lot of these players are young players. Yeah, Street, he's a good role player. Just look at Lakel London. That dude was on the injury reserve or undrafted majority of last year and came in here and gave us almost 6 sacks.
true. Yeah, it was a good turnaround, and Ulbrich again, he came with some shade on him, what happened during the draft.
Yeah,
And and I gotta commend him for just putting his head down, man, keeping his head down and just putting in the work, man, and not um letting that stuff stop him from doing what he needs to do.
yeah, man. This next season is all going to be on how these players come back from injury. Because just look at Billy Bowman. In the 6, 7 games he played, Billy Bowman was on fire. Billy Bowman was on fire. Like him, Zach Robinson was having a heck of a season. Why did I keep saying Zach Robinson? Zach Harrison.
Zach Harrison.
Zach Harrison was having a heck of a season. Even Rook was balling.
Yeah.
Like, man, it's like that's why I feel like there was a big emphasis on if Jeff Ulbrich was retained, how many of his coaches can we retain? His coaches, not the
Right.
Raheem Moore's coaches, and not the Arthur Smith coaches. Because you see, I haven't heard nothing on Jerry Gray. I think the
Right.
only one who really retained was the Dave Huxtable dude because he was a part of the Ryan Nielsen coaching group.
The only problem that I had with that defense, sometimes I thought we played a little soft in the secondary at the wrong times. You know,
Yeah,
but at the same time, I can understand that because we don't have that we didn't have that guy in the middle in the trenches to take up at least two blockers from time to time, and that put pressure on the linebackers to do different things. That's why teams will try to run on us, in some situations when they should be passing the ball. So they would just run the ball because they knew what we had in the middle. And if our linebackers were not in the middle, especially when Bertrand was there, and that was another thing. But I don't normally get angry with coaches for doing, because I say, they got a lot on their plate, but just for that allow Bertrand to stay there, and maybe they didn't have any other choice, but I would have had to do something.
But we seen that they did. You had Joshua Woods on the linebacker squad. You had Ronnie Harrison. You had Caleb Thompson. There was plenty options that we could have put out there outside of JD Bertrand. We could have put Jalen at linebacker,
And,
but they
and, and
wasn't. But they wasn't preparing to make these moves.
and Raheem was so high on the guy. We called him Captain America. Yeah, gave him that. And I was
Like,
like,
come on.
man,
It's like I understand he is so smart. I understand he played for Notre Dame, but we need him to get sideline to sideline. And we watched. I forgot what game that was. They picked on JD the whole game.
San
When they
Francisco.
when they needed a first down on third down, go for it on fourth down or whatever. All you seen was JD, JD, JD. Kyle Shanahan designed that game to attack JD the whole game. And for Raheem Morris, and I feel like that's a Jeff overcall for y'all not to make that um adjustment. That was a problem.
Yeah, I was like, man, I was getting a little ill, man. I was like, man, is this guy really? Are they just overlooking it? Are they ignoring it? You know. But I was saying that coaching staff. I said that 2 years ago, the first season. I saw what they were doing. I was like, man, these guys are incompetent, man. And incompetent doesn't necessarily mean that a person is not, is dumb or not smart. It's just, all it's saying is they don't have the ability to do that task, you know, versus him being a defensive coordinator. Maybe he'll be more competent, at that level. But as a head coach, with everything that we had going on, nah, he wasn't. He wasn't. He
Because
wasn't nowhere near
we all
ready.
knew, like we all knew as fans, we all knew as watchers of football, this was a playoff team. And for the fact that our team, the Atlanta Falcons, watched our division be won with an 8-9 record, it's crazy.
A three-way tie, and you
And we
and you
were
still didn't go to the
first or
playoffs
second place. We wasn't
because you
even in
lost the
first place.
wrong games.
Come on now,
Yeah, that's wicked, man.
2 years in a row, we
Yeah,
had the division in our hands. You can really say for the last 3 years, we had this division in the palm of our hands, literally looking at the division like, yep, going to the playoffs. And then the next thing you know, swiper no swiping, it just went away.
and then another bad a thing that's not a good feeling is when you're out of the playoffs early December
Or
mathematically.
even in November, you're
Yeah,
already eliminated from the playoffs.
and
That
I'm
that's
still gonna
crazy.
go to the games though. I'm still going to the games. Auntie
You gotta
Pam
support
still
the team.
still gonna show up.
Win, lose, or draw. I bleed
Right.
red and black. I rock with these Falcons from top to bottom. But yes, some bonehead decisions have been made since the last time we've been to the playoffs. So I'm
Yeah.
glad at this new direction that we headed, and I can't do nothing but get behind it. Like that's it. As a Falcons fan, I can't do nothing except sit back, watch, and see what happens. The same thing I did with Raheem, same thing I did with Arthur Smith. We can go all the way back to Dan Reeves and Jerry Glanville. I mean, All we can do is just sit back and watch.
But
Hopefully,
you know what? We stay behind them, but it's kind of like you in the line, you behind them guys. You say, man, I still love my Falcons, but guy standing in front of you, he need to put some deodorant on. Yeah, we like that. I'll be glad if this dude put the deodorant on, boy. That's what we were doing. We were stinking it up, man. I was behind them guys, but we
oh
were
yeah,
stinking it up, man.
it wasn't good. It
Nah,
wasn't
but
good. But
and
yeah, go ahead and say your last words. 3:30. We finna go ahead and start wrapping up the episode.
okay. But hey, man, another great one. I kind of, like I said, I came in late, man. I've been out here, man, moving snow, man, up in North Carolina, man. It got about a foot, but I'm glad I chimed in. Anytime you drop that link, man, I want to talk. I love talking Falcon football
I
because I
don't even
live in the
want to tell
area
you
where they don't want to hear nothing about the Falcons.
I
So,
don't even want to tell you what the weather was like out here today.
oh, okay, no, don't do that. Probably was warm, wasn't it?
Man,
What was the temperature?
78.
Oh my goodness. But
But we
yeah,
just had a
man.
cold front for like the last 2 weeks. It's been like low 30s, 40s, like mid 60s. But today was like a good day, man. I took all my plants outside and let them get some sunlight and stuff like that.
Hey, you got a green thumb, man.
Trying to, man. Trying to, man. Me and my wife, we got like what, 8 plants?
Man, I don't even have good luck with artificial plants, bro. but I have a nice lawn though. I don't have any shrubbery or any plants in my yard, but I have a great green thumb for my grass.
Uh, See, I
Yeah.
ain't got grass no more. See, out here, you got a lot of desert scape. So I think we got like two bushes in the front, and that's it. Everything else is just gravel and landscape rocks, river
Oh,
rocks.
okay. Wow. Well,
Hmm.
yeah, man. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm still behind the boys. That's not even nothing to debate. About not going to the games, and I'm not burning up no jerseys. I'm not selling no tickets. I'm not doing none of that. But at the same time, I need for these guys to put it together, and so we can get that swag back, where we can have some legitimate conversations with other fans on other teams, especially in the NFC South. And I want us to do something to them Panthers next season, because they're saying Bryce Young owns us,
Uh huh.
and I want to change that starting next season. But anyway, man, hey, man, I'm in a good place right now, and I hope that these type conversations, man, from these all of the content creators, man, kind of give the Falcons fans, a real insight on what's really going on, and we can come together and just be good fans, man. You know, stand
Oh yeah,
behind the
man.
team, be good fans, man, and just do our part, because the fans do have a part, man.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I love
yeah,
doing my research, man. I love just gathering everything and just bringing it to everybody all at once. So my
oh
next
yeah,
video, we're gonna start talking about the free agents for our Atlanta Falcons as well as free agents in the NFL and who can we bring to this team. But once again, it's your boy Georgia Texas Boy, and thank y'all for being here for another episode of Gas Boy Speak. I see y'all next week. God bless.
new era.